Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you've been following along, then you'll know that a couple videos back I was talking about a special bag project which I was quite excited to get into. Well, today is the day we are starting the bag project right now. Today I'm going to be delving into the world of leather weaving. You may be asking, why leather weaving? Well, I'm going to tell you. First of all, I really like the smell of leather. I'm having a bit of a leather moment at the moment. Secondly, so there's this very well-known brand that pretty much everybody knows called Bottega Veneta. Bags are gorgeous and they're made out of this beautiful leather which is woven in all these beautiful intricate designs. Love the bags, love them. Look at that, gorgeous. Don't love the price though. I mean, we can save some money and do that, but even if I find myself in the store, I'm looking at the bag thinking, I think I can make this at home. So here I am, at home, we're gonna make the bag. It's not gonna be exactly the same as any of these bags, but I will love it probably more than the bag I will buy because I made it, you know? So that's what we're going to do. So what can you expect in this video? Well, hopefully at the end of this video, we're going to have a fabulous bag, which you'll then see me all over Instagram doing a bit of that with it. So that is the end goal. But in order to get to that, there are a few things that we need to do. First of all, we need to have a look at leather weaving. There are lots of different techniques in order to get different weaves, but the specific weave that Bottega Veneta uses, I think there are two different ways of achieving it, and there are also different sizes. So a little bit of experimentation needs to happen. Once we've done that, we'll maybe do a little sample with the weave that we've chosen. So I think instead of making a bag from scratch, we are gonna go and find a good bag pattern that we can put together and follow along. And then finally, we need to actually make the weave and make the bag. And voila, we're gonna have a gorgeous bag. So that is the plan. Let's hope everything goes to plan. I guess we should get started. So let's have a look at these weaves. All right, so we are trying out some weaving. We're going to try with the first technique and we're doing it out of paper. We're going to have a bunch of horizontal strips and they're going to be woven through with vertical strips. Over, under, over, under, over, under. We have made the first sample and honestly, it was actually very, very easy and you get quite a nice dense piece of fabric. The only thing I think would be quite tedious would be actually cutting the strips. And I'm not sure how easy it would be to cut a shape out of all of that. I think with this kind of weave, you actually weave the bag, like you build the bag as you're weaving instead of like having it as a flat piece of fabric and cutting shapes into it. So I think if I cut shapes into it, it would just unravel, which means I would have to stitch these down first across all the lines before I cut anything. And that feels like a lot of work. So we're gonna try option number 2, which is the flat leather weaving version. So I checked a YouTube video and had to make myself this little doodad here. Basically, this is like 1 centimeter increments going in and out and across. And this is what we're going to use to make our grid on the leather. And now I need to thread these through here. So I've added 5 strips here and you can see how this weave is starting. Might be the better option because I can leave a seam allowance around the edge so that I can sew the bag together. And also if I cut anything around here, this is still staying intact because it's still part of a main piece, and it's just little holes that have been in here. So I think this is going to be the option we use. So choosing the leather or the fabric for a project, one of my favorite things to do. And as you can see, my leather collection has got slightly out of hand. I know, I'm sorry. After looking at all of my leathers, I did actually choose two. I ended up with this really nice blue and also this camel color. So I had a look on Etsy and I found this bag, and I think this is the one, guys. I did originally want to do a half moon type bag, but I think with the weave that we're going to be using, I think a bag like this is going to work. So this is from a brand called Berry Basic. It's called the Pfaff hobo bag, and I think it's really cute. It comes in two sizes. We're going to be making the basic size because that looks humongous, and as you can see in this picture, they have already kind of quilted it, so it definitely is a bag that can have any kind of design on it. Looks pretty simple, and it has a magnetic clasp to close instead of a zip, so I think this is it. This is going to be the one. This is the first level sample that I made. As you can see, it is really, really sturdy, and these aren't going anywhere. I'm sure if I was to cut in here, it would stay intact. So that's really, really good. Now, I wasn't sure about the size because these are quite small and it took forever to cut those strips. So I made another little doodad, a much larger one, and then I did a sample with much larger strips, which also looks pretty cool, but I must say, I think I prefer the smaller sample, so I guess we're going to have to do the smaller one. Just to make sure I wasn't making a bad decision, I did also try a sample in just the plain colours, which I think also looks really, really nice. I'm now trying to decide, like, which one do I like more. So I thought about it, and I actually think I'm going to go for the blue. I like it more than I like the brown and the two colours together. So we're going to work on the blue. So before I cut into my precious leather, I have to trace out the pattern first to make sure everything is lined up. A lot of these pattern pieces are only 1/2, so you kind of have to fold over to get a full piece. I traced it out in silver pen, but then as you can see, it's pretty light. So I had to then go over that pen with the black marker, and then I cut it out. Good morning. So yesterday I made the markings and I had to create a much longer template so that I could kind of do it all in one piece, which is great, but the template that I made was very slightly bigger than the template that I made before, and I'd already started marking one of the pieces, so I had to do a little bit of a overlapping. So the lines on one of them are a little bit weird, but I've made it so that I know which ones I should be cutting, and that is what we're going to be doing today. If I'd known how long this bag was going to take me, I might have considered a different project, but you know what? It's fine. I understand the beauty of these Bottega bags now. I understand why they are so expensive, because this is taking forever. Today, we're going to be using this chisel to make all the holes that I have marked on these two pieces. After we've made those holes, then we can go ahead and make the straps. I have a strap maker to make straps to make it easy, but I did just try and test on a piece of the leather. This leather is actually not stiff enough. This is too floppy for me to use the strap maker. So we're just going to have to use our trusty ruler, make lots of lines, either use a sharp blade or be very, very careful with the scissors, because we want them to be as straight as possible, because if it's even wonky a little bit, you will be able to see that the squares, once they've been woven through, don't look accurate. I better get on with it. By the time we're done, it will probably be dark, because it's also winter and it's getting dark at like 3 o'clock. So let's get on with it. So it is the next morning. It took me the entire day, but we have finally finished the holes on our bag pieces. And I've even, just to check, put a few pieces of strips through just to see what it would look like. And it actually looks pretty good. So the holes are about 1 centimeter in thickness. So we need to make the strips either exactly 1 centimeter or just a little bit off. So like 0.9 millimeters, so that it will slide through and it will give us a uniform look. I have counted how many there are going diagonally. There's about 45 lines on each bag. And the longest lines, there's maybe about 20 in the middle that need to be really, really long. And the longest is about 1/2 meter. I've got my meter stick here, and from what I can see, I've got at least 1 meter of leather in the smallest part, and in the longest part, it's almost 2 meters in like little bits. So I feel like I can get some solid lines around here, and then what we'll do is we'll cut them in strips, we'll weave in as much as we need, and then we cut off the edge and the shorter bits can go in the shorter areas. I'm going to do about 10 to 15 lines. So that is what we're going to do today. It shouldn't take me too long because first of all, it's just measuring and then there's cutting. For the weaving part, I did a little test here. And in order to get it in and out, I actually use this bodkin here. And what you do is you put the leather in the end, you tighten it up, and then I can weave through really quickly and just pull it through. So that is what we're going to do today. The end is in sight. Actually, the end is not even close to being in sight because this is just to get the front and back of the bag. Once that's done, we still have to make the bag. We haven't even made the bag yet and haven't cut the lining. The lining is going to be in lining fabric, so I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, this is the bit. Once this bit is done, it's plain sailing from there. So let's go. So as I'm working on this woven leather bag, I've been thinking about ways to refine my skills and add some new techniques to my toolbox. Recently, I started exploring today's sponsor, Skillshare. We all know about Skillshare. It's this amazing online community where creatives and makers can dive into thousands of classes on topics like art and design, sewing, knitting, filming, and so much more. What I love about Skillshare is that it's designed for people like us who learn best by doing. For me, hands-on learning is literally the only way to go. I need to actually try things to make them stick, and the classes encourage exactly that. You don't just watch, you get to practice and create as you go with feedback from other members in the community. I've also been exploring their learning paths, which is a curated collection of classes that will help you master a skill step by step. They're perfect if you're looking to tackle something new or deepen your knowledge in a specific area. Right now, I'm taking a class called Intro to Leather Fashion Design by Vicky Rocco. It's been such a great guide for working with leather. I'm already incorporating a few of those skills I've learned into this bag. So yeah, if you're ready to take your skills or hobbies to the next level, definitely check out Skillshare. And here's a bonus, the first 500 people who use my link in the description will get a free 1-month trial. So dive in and see where your creativity takes you. And this right here is why Bottega Veneta bags are so expensive. This is sped up, but let me show you what it looks like in real time. It took forever. Look at that. Slow going. And my fingers were so red by the time I was done. Right, that is side number 1 done. Looking pretty good. It actually looks really good. I'm actually quite happy with that. This is what it looks like on the inside, also looking pretty good, but you can see all the bits that are in the seam allowance. So I'm gonna call it a day for today, and tomorrow we will fill up this one. Okay, it is the next day and we are starting on the second one. I've cut all of my pieces. Now we're going to do a real push to get this done in a couple of hours. Full disclosure, I did actually manage to get this one done faster, and I think it's because I listened to a podcast instead of watching a show. So note to self, podcasts over shows. We are done. This one took me 2.5 hours. I worked hard and it's done and I'm very happy and I think they look really, really good. I'm really glad I chose the blue. Thank you for those of you on Instagram that also helped me choose. But the hard part is over. Easy breezy plain sailing from here. So now these two are done. I have collected all the other things that we're going to need to finish this bag. I found some appropriate lining, which is this really nice like tencel cotton material, very nice and silky. So that is going to be the lining and the zip pocket. Here is the zip. I also, in my leather stash, found some straps. So I don't actually have to make any straps. And, you know, I don't actually mind that it's tan either. So that's going to be like the little tan part. We've got the base of the bag here. And then I was looking for some D-rings. I originally was looking for gold, but I couldn't find them in the right size. But these ones are the right size, which is like this gunmetal grey, which I actually think, looking at it all together, doesn't look that bad. So now this is the part where I can put everything together. I did some testing on the machine and I'll need to do a little bit of cutting here, but I think we'll be able to sew these together with no problems. Okay, so I've just done step one of the lining. I actually added a facing here, which I just roughly cut out because the pattern is meant for fabric, not leather. And there is a magnetic clasp that's meant to go in there, but I didn't really want to have the clasp showing on the outside of the fabric. So I thought if I make a facing in the lining and then it will be like leather at the top, which you see with a lot of bags, and then the lining going down. And I also made these strap holders so that we can loop the straps in. It took many attempts, but we have done the sides. As you can see, lots of extra threads there. My machine did really well until about here, and then it started getting kind of angry with me. So as you can see, I pulled out all of my machines and we ended up using this one, which for some reason just went through like butter, all of the layers, which is so mad because that one is supposed to do all of the layers. And now we have the sides done. So next part, we're going to add this to the base so that we can have a bag. And then we're going to do the same with our lining. And then we're going to join the two. We have finally got the bag together and the lining together. I'm now going to put the lining over the bag with the right sides facing and we're going to sew around. But before I do that, we need to add these little thingy-majiggies at the top here so that we can add the straps. So I'm going to clip these in, we're going to put it together, and then tonight this bag will be almost finished bar the straps. We are so close to the finish line. The bag itself is actually really easy to make if you are making it out of any woven fabric. Making it out of leather and also doing this Bottega weave on it has obviously made something that should really have taken me half a day to make, has taken me like almost 2 weeks because of all of this weaving. It's fine. I feel like I've learnt my lesson. It will be a little while before I attempt this weave again. Now that I know how to do it, I can do it a lot easier and I'll be keeping that template so I don't have to make that again. But it was very time consuming and I'm probably going to have a little break before I try that one again. Slight problem. I don't like it. I love the outside of the bag, but I'm not feeling the inside, and I'm having a little bit of a problem with it because the thickness of the leather turning over makes it really, really hard to get a clean line here. So what are we going to do? I'm going to use a leather lining. It's going to be a really lightweight one, and we're going to kind of try and treat this all as one fabric. What I'm going to do, cut out these pieces again in the leather, sew them together, and then flatten the seams. And I think it will be better. I think. I was so close to the end, but it's not working for me. So we're going to just do a little rejig. We're going to get the bag. I promise you we're going to get the bag. I didn't want to bore you with making another one, so I just whipped that up really quickly. So now we are going to do one side and then the other side. And then once that's done, we are going to add these in there, and then I'm going to stitch across the top and then turn it inside out, and then we can finally put the straps on. Right, so this is what the bag is looking like at the moment. I tried stitching around the edge. It is not the best stitching, but for now, for this video, it's fine. I will be getting some very thin leather binding to bind around the edges, because if you can see, I had a few mishaps with my sewing machine. I think it's definitely time to get an industrial sewing machine, because I'm going to keep doing leather like projects every time I run into the same problems. So we're definitely getting a machine that can handle the leather, and then we won't have stitching problems. But this is the bag. I attached the D-rings, and then because the stitching was really bad there, I actually just like glued using my leather glue a little tab on the inside and the outside, so it looks a little bit neater. From the outside you can't really tell with the stitching, which is great, and it does have a raw edge, so I definitely will be looking into binding in the future. But for the moment, it works. There is no pocket on this one because I was starting to rush at the end, but it does have a fastener, so it does close. So here we are, we've got a great bag. Now the last thing I need to do is to add these leather straps. Right, so I've just clipped on this leather strap because I'm just going to have the one. I'm going to have it so that it's a fixed length, but look at that, it's a bag and it works. So that's exciting. That feels a little large, so I might make this strap a little bit shorter because this is quite a big dip. But I'm so glad that we've come to the end. So I will definitely in the future find a way to bind these edges. But for the most part, this bag is done. Let me put these straps on, and then I'm going to head out and we're going to wear this bag. And here it is, the final bag. I absolutely loved how it turned out. It's snowing outside, so I kind of kept it cozy in the garden, but honestly, this bag is perfect for heading out any weather. Super roomy, fits everything I need, and that shoulder sling, yeah, love it. If you enjoyed watching me make this, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell notifications so you don't miss any of my future projects. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!